Greetings, comic friends. I'm going to be upfront and honest about this video. This is going to be a little bit different. This is mostly going to be sort of stream of thought, just kind of getting my thoughts straight on some things. It's going to be pretty opinionated. Uh, People may agree, may not agree with me. I'll probably come off sounding as, I don't know, whiny or butthurt or whatever you want to say, but it's my channel. I guess I can do and say whatever I want, right? So if that's not for you, it's not for you. If you don't agree, you don't agree. If you think I'm being just a little too I don't know, too whiny, then I don't know. I guess stop watching, I suppose. Um, so last week last weekend I had posted a video of opening, I think it was last weekend, a CGC unboxing. And if you watch that, if you haven't watched that, I'll post a link to it in the bottom. But if you did watch that, you know I was not particularly happy with it. Uh, so I done a lot of thinking on it, and a little bit of poking around about other people's recent experiences with CGC. Things are weird right now. I totally get that. And I'm not even talking about the time it takes, the turnaround time, which is pretty crazy right now. I'm talking more about sort of just quality control and quality of service type stuff. But I've heard some things from other people, and I've kind of it's made me do some thinking and things I want to do or not do going forward, because that unboxing was a real bad experience on a number of levels. Some that I'll talk about that weren't really in the video, but I'll talk about in this one here. What you do kind of see in that video is me obviously being very unhappy with some of the grades that came back. Now, of course, obviously, the grading is subjective. I don't have the strict CGC criteria, but I've been doing this for a while, and on previous times I've done unboxings or submitted and opened, I'm generally pretty close. I mean, nothing's 100%. There could be some things, and if you're off, like, I thought it was going to be a 9.2 but a 9.0, like, yeah, okay, fine. You're still in the ballpark. Every once in a while I'll be off by a chunk, and we're not really privy to the exact reasons that grades are given the grades they are, as far as whatever criteria they kind of officially go by, and then there's the subjectiveness. But in this last CGC order, I feel things were way off. Again, given the experience I've had and in previous things, how close I've been on what I think things would come back as, these being way off. And not just a handful of them, but a number of them I felt were quite low. And that's concerning. So what's going on, right? So they're obviously rather swamped. So, and they've come out and said, like, oh yeah, we're working on keeping up with demand by hiring more people. But where are those people coming from, right? And how trained can they get in such a short period of time to throw books at them and say, okay, grade these with the standards that the people that have been doing this for years and years are? That's just, it's not reasonable to expect the same sort of consistency when they're trying to get the throughput of the books better by throwing people at it, new people, right? And again, I don't know. Maybe there are people that have been there and they just sort of upgraded them to this position. or maybe they're people off the street or whatever, and they're trying to hire them fast. But either way, they're having to put a number of people in this position rather quickly. So I don't think it's unreasonable to think that that has affected quality. And hearing from other people, I don't appear to be the only one that has experienced this. Experienced well, these grades are a lot lower than what I expected. It happening to one person can be an anomaly, but it happening to a bunch of people is a pattern. So, are they telling the newer people to err on the side of caution and grade lower, or is it the people in position they know that they're new and they don't want to grade too high, so they choose to grade a little low? I don't know, but it does seem like that is happening more often than maybe it used to. And I don't even know if that's sort of the biggest concern. When after I posted that video and looked over the books more, got some books back into customer hands, there's another concern, that some of the books that were submitted may have been mishandled. Seeing things like spine ticks where there weren't any before, things of that nature, which is worse than a low grade, because that's irreversible, right? If you get a low grade, you can always crack it and resubmit it and hope for something better. But if a book is damaged because of a mishandling, that's it. It can't. That can't be fixed. A color breaking spine tick, or a number of color breaking spine ticks, it's forever. You can't undo that. And doing a little more asking around and things like that, it seems like that if that was the case, again, you can't really prove it, right? I can say, when I had the book in my possession, there were no spine ticks there. I pack very well, so the packing wasn't the problem. That doesn't mean it was super abused in transit. I find it hard to believe, with how solid they're packed, that it would take some major damage to the box. Like, it would be evident, and I would hope that CGC would report that if they got it that way. But at the same time, like, their line could be like, well, maybe it happened in shipping. But you can't really definitively prove that it happened by them. And I'm just saying, I'm saying it's suspect, right? But that's concerning, right? Because, like, I don't know if you can go to CGC and say, hey, I think you damaged these books, and they prove it. Even if I took pictures ahead of time, like as I'm packing it, they go, well, we still got it that way, right? It happened in shipping. There's no recourse. But again, if it just happened to my shipment, that's one thing. But if I'm hearing that other people suspect that similar things have happened to them, then it starts to carry a little more weight. So, suffice it to say, CGC is having some problems right now. Again, aside from the pure volume and keeping up with demand, speaking strictly from quality control. So what do you do? Right? What do you do going forward? What do you do? The books that are already out there, all I can do is cross my fingers and hope it doesn't happen again. Hope that I get a grader that is experienced. Hope that they aren't mishandled. So nothing I can do about that. But what about going forward? what sort of relationship should I have with CGC? Well, and this is where, I started thinking about this, and it led me down a path of thinking about other things, and it led to other things I'm not even going to get into. That gets more into like personal life stuff. Because comic collecting and my pressing business, it's a huge part of my life. It's probably the biggest part of my life. So it has personal life repercussions in it that I'm not really ready to delve into on a video or whatever. Maybe soon, maybe someday. I don't know, but not now. So what is my relationship going forward with CGC? Well, there's sort of three aspects that I have to me particularly. There's three reasons why I'd send stuff into CGC. One for my own personal books. That's easy. I don't send personal books to CGC. This is no mystery. I prefer CBCS. I think it's a better product across the board. So I don't send my personal books for my personal collection to get graded by CGC in the first place, because I don't want CGC books in my collection. The second reason why I might send stuff to get graded by CGC is it's stuff that I found that I have cleaned, pressed, want to get graded in order to sell it. Again, the market still dictates that CGC fetches a bit higher price. Again, I think that is balancing out, and I think with some of the problems that CGC is having, that's going to balance out even more. But it is what it is, right? So some books I'll send to CGC because it just makes them easier to sell. Do I still want to do that? Well, first of all, I don't do it that often. I had that last batch had some stuff, and I have 2 other batches out that have some stuff that I'm getting graded at CGC that I sent specifically just so I can sell it. But I don't do it that much, and I plan on doing it, sort of flipping stuff even less. Again, that starts to go down the personal path that I don't really want to go into. But if I did have a group of books that I wanted to get graded, would I go to CGC? The answer to that is no. If I had some books that I had solely for the purpose of reselling, I will no longer go to CGC for that. Because of this last experience I had, and from what I am hearing from some others, that I don't feel that they can be trusted. Both with the consistency and correctness of grading and the handling of the books. It's unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable. And again, I can't prove anything. I can't say definitively or whatever. It just seems like I know those books getting packed in. They weren't like that. They came back in slabs with some problems. Question mark? So I'm not saying CGC did something. I'm saying there's enough of a doubt that it makes me not trust it. I would send to CBCS instead. Even though it doesn't fetch as high of a price, even though it might be harder to sell, it's not worth the risk. I'd rather send a book to CBCS and get, let's say, a 9.8. Let's say it's a modern book, and get a 9.8 and be a CBCS 9.8 slab, rather than take the risk of sending it to CGC and it coming back lower because it was misgraded, or even worse, coming back way lower because it was damaged and then graded. That is not worth the risk. I will go with the place that I trust. The devil you know over the devil you don't. I have a lot more faith in CBCS to grade accurately and to not damage. I've never had a problem like that with CBCS. Never. Of damaged books. Have mistakes happened with CBCS? Yeah, I had that one order a while ago when they had two of the same book, and the labels got swapped. Um, Guess what? They took care of it for no cost, obviously. Um, that's the only thing that I've had happen with them, and yeah, stuff happens. It's okay. I sent in two of the exact same book. They were graded right next to each other. One got one label that the other one's supposed to have. I can see it. As long as they take care of it, it's fine. Things that aren't fine is damage to books. And low grading, sure, I can crack it. I could resubmit it to CGC again, but who's to say it doesn't come back the same or even lower, right? Which is, and I think I mentioned this. Well, maybe I didn't. Maybe I mentioned it in that video. It's just sort of like proof is in the pudding sort of thing. There were books that I'd submitted that had been graded before. The slabs cracked, pressed, the book pressed, resubmitted, and came back lower. Now, I know I didn't do any damage to that book or those books. There's a few of them. So, and now I'm not saying like when you get something pressed, you're guaranteed to get a grade bump, but it should at least be the same. Definitely not lower, but they came back lower because that was just sort of more proof to me that whoever graded those books was grading low, and that lack of consistency. So that's reason two for me to send stuff into CGC is done. Reason one is a non-issue because I don't do it anyway. Reason two, they've lost that business from me. Now, the third reason I send something into CGC is for a customer, right? So one of the services I offer, with the cleaning and pressing, would you like me to handle the submission? And I offer, like, you can do CGC or CBS or CBCS, your choice. You're the customer. This is where it starts to get tricky, right? I can say to a customer, like, I personally prefer CBCS. I suggest CBCS, but they're your books. You're the customer. You get what you want. Now, I don't do other things like PGX and EGS or whatever. I don't want to have to deal with that many different companies. So I stick with CGC and CBCS. So they say, no, I want CGC for whatever reason, their personal preference. They're wanting to resell stuff. Fine. But it puts me in a bit of a predicament, right? If I don't feel comfortable or I don't have faith in submitting books into CGC, whether they be my books or I'm doing it on behalf of someone else, that puts me in a spot, right? So one of my biggest concerns is that because I'm a middleman here, right? A customer gives me some books. They are in my possession. They're in my care. I work on them. I pack them. I ship them. CGC gets them, and now they're in their care, and they do their thing. So let's say we do that. Customer gives me a book. It looks a certain way. I do what I do. I send it off. The slab comes back. The book has been damaged. Now what? I didn't receive the package that CGC got, so I don't really have a recourse as far as shipping is concerned. CGC just says, oh, we got it that way. I know for a fact that I didn't damage the book, and I know that I packed it well. But as far as like the customer's concerned, as far as they know, maybe I did damage the book, right? So they have no recourse with CGC. They have no recourse with the post office. So then it falls on me as being sort of their only chance of, I don't know, complaining or having an issue or raising an issue. which it's always been that way, right? That's always been the thing. And a risk that I suppose I take as being the middleman. But I had a level of trust with the people I was sending it to be handled appropriately. Now, I don't have that trust, right? So a customer comes to me and says, I want you to send us the CGC. I'm now being asked to send their stuff on their behalf to someplace I don't trust. I don't know if I can do that. I like, and they say like, yeah, whatever. I want CGC because whatever. The CGC is it. I'm CGC fanboy or fangirl, or I only do flipping and it has to be CGC. Okay. But when it comes down to it, it's me sending them in on my account. It just feels like something it's hard for me to do on behalf of someone who is putting a certain amount of trust in me to say, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and send to this place that I don't trust. It's very possible they may damage your stuff. What's my responsibility to stop that? Now, if there's someone else out there that trusts CGC and says, yeah, I'll take care of that for you, that's fine. That's one thing. But for me, this is sort of a moral dilemma. They're asking me to do something with their stuff that I don't necessarily think is safe. And that's on top of, if something does happen to them, the customer comes to me and say, hey, you ruined my book. Like, no, I didn't. So is it worth it for me? So should I just swear off CGC completely? Like, I'm sorry, customers. If you are CGC or nothing, I can't help you. I will press it. I will clean it. I will ship it back to you. And if you want to send it to CGC, by all means, go ahead. But I at least right now, and that's not to say that it's always going to be this way, but they're going through some tough stuff. And I get the feeling that it's just a little hectic there. And stuff is happening. And I can understand why. And I'm not saying that it's an excuse, right? No matter what the reason, if they damage our stuff, they damage our stuff. But I can see where it's more likely to happen now. And from what I've heard, that might be the case. So, as far as my business is concerned, I mean, I basically have two options. I stop offering CGC because it's like, I can't in good faith send this off to CGC for you because I am shaky about the service. But I don't know. That feels like being a little, I'm parenting, right? It's not my job to parent. Like, you want CGC, you get CGC. Fine. But then you bring into like, well, what's that do to me if the books do get damaged while since they've been given to me from the customer, but they are out of my care after they've been sent away. They get it back and like, oh, this tear wasn't here, this spine tick wasn't here when I gave it to you. What'd you do? Like, I don't want to be put in that position. So it's either, yeah, just like, sorry, for right now, until I hear about things getting better there, I don't want to put myself in that position. If that means that we can't do business, we can't do business. That's fine. I completely understand. But I don't want to be a part of that problem. Or I still offer to send to CGC, but every single customer that wants that, I have to like give them this huge disclaimer like, look, if you want CGC, that's fine, but just know that I don't have faith in them. I feel that they're having problems, and I don't know if your books can be guaranteed safe. I'm still working that one out. I don't know what to do. When it comes to me, my own personal stuff or stuff that I'm selling, but it's personal, it's a no-brainer for me. I'm done. I'm done with them. I was close to being done with them anyway, but it's like this last order and all the stuff I've been hearing, it's the final nail in the coffin. I'm done personally with CGC. The business is a little trickier. So yeah, I don't know. Sorry, this is a weird video. It's a very op-ed piece, I guess. And yeah, I'm guessing, because I know there's those CGC fanboys and fangirls out there that are just like, for some reason, they are unable to halfway consider. Like, I don't get it. I don't get that sort of brand loyalty or whatever. I mean, if you do prefer the product more than others, that's fine. I get that. I'm not. I agree to disagree. But I feel there's some people out there that are just like there's just no considering another option out there. It's just that's super brand loyalty. I never understood that, but so I know those sorts of people that probably in the comments, such a whiner, thumbs down, blah blah blah. This is my channel. This is a stream of thought sort of thing. I just want to talk some stuff through and put it out there and get other people's opinions and let me know if you've heard other similar things about people recently getting back. And I'm talking about recently since things have been kind of crazy. I'm not as worried about stuff that happened years and years ago. Like, I understand stuff happens. I'm more concerned about the rate of these sort of incidents right now because of how tumultuous things are, and is it sort of affecting the product, their product, because it was kind of inexcusable to me, and people could say, well then crack it and resubmit it. There's problems with that, right? Like I said before, I could crack it, resubmit it, and have the same problem. There's also the fact that I have funds wrapped up in these books, and I've had them wrapped up in them for a while because of the long wait times. I need these funds freed up, right? So I need to, even though the books are lower than what I think they should be, I need to move them. So I have to sell them for less money because the grade on the label is lower than what it probably actually is encased inside. So it's not that easy. It's not that easy as just crack and resubmit it. It's easy to say. It's not easy to do. There are extenuating circumstances to it. So that's kind of it. I am really interested to hear your opinions. What are your thoughts? First of all, have you experienced or heard anything like this in recent times? Is it changing the way that you feel about this company? I know I've heard from people that who are most like always just CGC always, or be like, well, time for CBCS. I guess it's just like, even if they like the CGC product better, like I can't risk having my books damaged. I can't risk getting a stupid low grade on something because there's inexperienced people. And what do you think I should do in regards to the business and sending books off to CGC? Is it worth putting myself in that sort of difficult position? I just don't know. My gut reaction, just because that company put me through hell with like the price raise, the price hikes, and it caused a lot of problems with orders I currently had. So that made me disgruntled, and then this order came back with all these problems. So my sort of knee-jerk reaction is, no, I'm done. CGC I'm out. I can't support anything about them. But then that's hard for me to say when, like, well, the customer wants it. I don't know. So what do you think I should do there? What are your thoughts and opinions there? I'd be really interested to hear about that. So please like, comment, subscribe. Again, if you didn't watch the video, the unboxing video I'm talking about, I will have that posted down in the comments. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with my whiny, ranty little whatever. As always, don't forget to make yours Titan. This video was brought to you by Titan Comic Pressing. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Titan Comic Pressing LLC.